Okay, so right now I'm going to go through the supplements that we as a family keep stocked, especially supplements that we use with our mom for her progressive supranuclear palsy. She's technically been end stage of that now for a couple of years. And we have a lot to try to manage with that as her neurological system deteriorates. That robs function throughout the body for all the body systems. And so we are constantly making sure we are effectively managing any respiratory issues, swallow issues, um, bowel issues, bladder retention issues, as well as cognitive, circulation, skin. All of those you're going to be managing with someone who's going to be in end stage bed bound state. So I'm going to go do a quick run through. I'm not a medical doctor. I am not giving you medical advice, but I am simply sharing the different things that we keep in our arsenal for what we battle here at home. So I'm going to go through a variety of cognitive things first. Um, One cool little thing is by Life Extensions. It's Memory Protect. It's little pills that are put in order by day. So day one, you take this, day two, you take this, and it's a lithium and a colostrum based therapy that has research behind it. So I have a Memory Protect. I also have Magtine, or this is a magnesium threonate. That type of magnesium is especially effective for neuro issues. I also have PQQ. PQQ has gained a lot of attention recently for being used post-viral illness. Um, it's great for blood vessels, things like that in the brain. A lot of folks take it to have more clarity with thought. So I use that as well. I also use Cognitix. This one is by Life Extensions. It has a lot of goodies for the brain. They're big horse pills. For my mom, she has tube feeding, and she does oral still as well for enjoyment, but it makes it easy to get things down when she needs something without the burden of having her swallow it. The other thing I like to use is Blueberry. This is actually practitioner grade. I'm a biofeedback practitioner, so I have access to certain things that most people can't get. This is a lot higher concentrate than your normal blueberry extracts that you get over the counter. So you're looking at an 80-to-1 ratio. And I think the highest you can get over the counter is like a 10-to-1. And they look completely different even for what's inside the capsule. So this is great for brain function. And then you have alpha GPC. This is a type of choline that's readily metabolized by the brain. There is another choline that's also good. It's the CDP choline. But I like this one just a little bit better for its absorbability. It's not very easy to find. Sometimes when I'm looking for an amino acid that's not easy to find, I can actually find it in some of the muscle building amino acids. So for instance, this amino acid muscle building item from Vital Performance, I'm able to get the alpha GPC choline. So it's another source of that alpha GPC choline when I can't get it by itself. Another thing that I like to get is a really special type of carnitine. There's the glycine propionyl L-carnitine, HCI. That special type of carnitine is also really good for the brain. Can't always find it, but I am able to get it, for instance, in this sports amino boost as well. And when it comes to aminos, the reason I like doing an amino form is that when you're doing a protein powder form for someone that has issues with bowels and that motility, muscle function shutting down the bowels, protein powders can sometimes constipate and slow that bowel function. So doing a bit of a cleaner source of aminos can help balance that out so that you're not being as constipating with your choice. There's also huperzine A. There is caution with this because with neurodiseases, you might have a certain level of muscle spasticity, and this could aggravate it. So you need to watch for muscle spasticity, anxiety with huperzine A. But it is a very good one for brain clarity, depending on tolerance. There's also another cognia memory formula here. This is actually silk protein that's used. So this is used to help improve that blood vessel quality as well through the brain. And yet other things that you can use for blood vessel quality would be things like you would have the nattokinase, lumbrokinase, the pycanidol, different things like that that help blood flow, venous and arterial blood flow. The other thing I use here is niacinamide. I started using this because I noticed with applying biofeedback to my mom that the homeopathic tobacco was actually coming up pretty frequently for my mom. And the reason why is tobacco works on the nicotine receptors in the brain. And there's actually value in that. So in order to find another way to work on the nicotine receptors in our brain, I actually use niacinamide. Let's see, that's why that question one. There's also GABA powder, which most of us already know, is for GABA for the brain, depending on what direction the brain needs to be modulated. There's also cordyceps. Cordyceps is great. It's used traditionally for fertility, circulation, things like that. Circulation is actually a huge component for brain health. So even, for instance, Viagra was actually created for not for what we all know it by. So cordyceps will also help that brain circulation as well. And then I like on the digestive side, I have several things as well. So on the digestive side, there's sometimes parasites and a disbalance in microorganisms in the gut that can create sensitivities. I like the herb Huinia for that. There's also a tendency for acid reflux, and you can use, say, proton pump inhibitors like meprazole, which I'm not a big fan of because it can block nutrients as well. There's H2 inhibitors like famotidine, but there's also something that very few people know about. This is a DAO enzyme. I use that because it's an enzyme that we naturally have in our body, but we can be deficient in, and it breaks down the histamine that's created when we digest foods. So I give this to my mom because it's very important we control any acid reflux since she would aspirate and get pneumonia with refluxing too much. The other thing for digestion is, of course, probiotic. There's a variety of ones out there. This one in particular I'm trying right now because it has the Lactobacillus rhamnosus GG strain, which I really like. It's also good for allergies and sensitivities. If someone has SIBO, you could always try probiotics that are soil-based to help with SIBO. I also like this. I've been trying. I like the company in general, Pure Synergy. They have a lot of good stuff, very pure quality products. This has a whole bunch of digestive enzymes in it. And then it also has some of those special enzymes that aren't normally the digestive enzymes. So it has serrapeptase, which is great for inflammation. It has nattokinase, which is great for blood flow. And then it also has like red algae, turmeric, a variety of things in it. So this little power enzyme by Pure Synergy is a pretty cool little piece that I've been trying. Also for digestion, to keep things moving. This has been one of the lifesavers for us for the past couple of years. Normally, when you're working with a neurological disease, you're looking at a really depressed function of the bowels. Either they're too loose, everything's just falling out, or nothing moves at all and it all stays in. Constipation for us has been the bigger issue because it's the more dangerous issue when everything is getting compacted and toxic. So over the years, we did all of the normal stuff, you know, whether it was the liquids and the teas and even prescription things that they give people with opioid-based constipation. All of it really ended in disaster. This has been our lifesaver. So it's by Nature's Plus GI Wellness. It's not a bad tasting powder. When mom didn't have a G tube, she was able to have this in a smoothie. Matter of fact, anything, I pretty much opened up every capsule and tasted everything we had to see what I could put in smoothie form for her to boost her nutrition. Now in G-tube, it's really easy. I can throw this in there and use that, and it keeps her regular. She hasn't built up a tolerance to it where it's ineffective. It's been effective for years. The next thing that I use for digestion is specific for parasites. It's a Stomatique by BioStar. Once again, one of my practitioner grade items that has a variety of things like Artemisia or wormwoods, so they can keep her uh, bowel parasites under control to make sure she gets most of the absorption of the nutrients. Then in general, I have things like beets and berries powder. The reason I like this one is because it has black currants in it. Black currants I find on my biofeedback machine are really therapeutic for her. It's really hard to find a good and affordable source here in the States. It's more of a European berry. Um, but I use that as a source for it. I try to always make sure she gets a little bit of something green. This month I'm using spirulina, I've used moringa. Um, I've used a variety of green powders just so that she gets some good chlorophyll sources. I also have foti root. This is really good for a mineral base. You need a good mineral base in any body in order to give it any other type of nutrition. So this has a really good mineral profile. And then always with neurological, you want to make sure you're getting a good array of B vitamins. And one of the ones that we have a hard time with in our family due to MTHFR genetic mutations is our folate pathway. So I actually use a methylfolate spray. My mom in the past has really been sensitive to methylfolates. She couldn't handle like the Deplin prescription, for instance, that she had been on. This is a gentler, it's just a spray in the mouth. You can regulate how much someone gets, and she's been tolerating it really well. And that's very important for the nervous system. And then I always have omegas. Omegas are important for the whole inflammatory process, including the brain, but also we're dealing with inflammation throughout the body. We're trying to keep every part of this failing body in check at times. So for her case, she has a flax. I rotate out though. I've used fish oils, hemp oils. In general, I do try to do rotation of things, or some things aren't every day. Some things are just as needed, so that the body doesn't get too adjusted to something so it's not responding. One of the things too is with the omegas, with this is George's distilled aloe. Some of these things that I've been showing you also work on connective tissues. So working on connective tissues is important, especially if someone's bedbound, so you're not getting bed sores and skin infections like you normally would. L-lysine is another source of help for that. So L-lysine is great for the skin, but secondarily, it's actually also very antiviral. So it's a great one to have in play, especially if you have someone on L-arginine. So L-arginine is great for the nitric oxide synthesis to the brain, but L-arginine can actually activate viruses. So if you have L-arginine in play for the brain, you're going to want to have an L-lysine. I think it's a double to one ratio on the opposite dosing schedule. So do one at night, one in the morning. But L-lysine is going to be important to keep any viruses checked. And then there's D-mannose. So you're dealing with a lot of issues with the bladder, bladder irritation at times, like interstitial cystitis or reoccurring UTIs. D-mannose is a great resource for that. Also, that aloe is going to be great at rebuilding the bladder linings and any other immune support to make sure you keep the immune system things in check. The other thing is quercetin and bromelain. I like this because it's good for allergy, it's good for lung. Any type of allergic irritation is going to create extra secretions, and secretions is dangerous for someone with a neuro disease as they're getting more impaired to swallow because they're not going to be able to manage their secretions, and they're going to end up with chest congestion, pneumonia. They can even have issues choking on it. So that brings us to managing lungs. I like always having N-acetylcysteine in play. NAC is also known as. We keep that in play all the time with mom. Every day, actually, I have her take about 1,200 milligrams a day. Fortunately, she's able to tolerate it. Not everyone can tolerate NAC. It depends on their methylation profile, if they can handle that detox that can happen with it. I'm fortunate that she actually can tolerate more things than I can. So we're able to target it. I also have bamboo. This is also one of my practitioner things. So with bamboo, it helps with viruses and keeping the lungs clear and things like that. And it feels really good. I actually take this one too. For instance, as sensitive as I am to things, I really like taking that one. And then of course you have vitamin D. I have vitamin D drops here for immune system, something like grapefruit seed extract. What I like about a good immune system stock is you're going to want something that's broad spectrum enough. So with something like this, it's broad spectrum for viruses, bacterial, fungal, which you do need to be able to hit everything. The same with olive leaf. I have an olive leaf tincture that I use. So I'm staying really broad spectrum on my care for her immune system. So those are all the main things I have in my arsenal. I also have that calendula homeopathic gel that I use for skincare and a variety of other things. So if you have anything specific going on, you're welcome to message me and I can brainstorm ideas. Every body is different, but this is the things that I keep in stock with the knowledge that I have of my mom's body. All right, and that's it.